So we can start with this chanting straight away before our meditations and talk. Be mindful, aware, conscientious. Namo Tassa Bhagavato ArahatoSammaSambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato ArahatoSammaSambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato ArahatoSammaSambuddhassa. Buddham saranam gacchami. Dhammam saranam gacchami. Sangham saranam gacchami. Dutiyampi Buddham saranam gacchami. Dutiyampi Dhammam saranam gacchami. Dutiyampi Sangham saranam gacchami. Dutiyampi Buddham saranam gacchami. Dutiyampi Dhammam saranam gacchami. Dutiyampi Sangham saranam gacchami. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas. May I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas. May I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas. May I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. May all sentient beings have happiness and its causes. May they be free from suffering and its causes. May they never be parted from the happiness beyond suffering. May they abide in equanimity, free of bias, attachment to the near, and aversion from the far. I shall cause this. Great compassionate Buddha, please inspire me to be able to do so. Reverently, I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind, and present clouds of every types of offerings, actual and mentally transformed. I confess all of my negative actions accumulated since beginningless time, and rejoice in all the virtues of all holy and ordinary beings. Please remain until cyclic existence ends, and turn the wheel of Dharma for all sentient beings. I dedicate the virtues of myself and others to the great enlightenment. However innumerable all sentient beings are, I vow to save them all. However inexhaustible my delusions are, I vow to extinguish them all. However immeasurable the Dharma teachings are, I vow to master them all. However endless the Buddha's way is, I vow to follow it completely. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Tayata Gate Gate Parasum Gate Bodhi Soha. Tayata Gate Gate Parasum Gate Bodhi Soha. Tayata Gate Gate Parasum Gate Bodhi Soha. So now you can get yourself in a nice position for some meditation. As per usual, we will release the tension from the body. So bring your focus to your body. We'll start from the tips of the toes and work our way up the legs, all the way up to the shoulders, and then down to the tips of your fingers, and then back up to the top of your head. So now let's spend a few moments to do this. Try your best to only focus on this right now. Not only will it help you to release physical tension, it will also help you to release mental tension and help bring the mind inside the body and to focus the mind. And when you've done this, now bring your focus to placing the mind onto the breath. Breathing in your nose all the way into your lungs and then back out your nose. Focus your mind on the feeling of the breath as you breathe in and out. If thoughts arise or any mental activity arises, don't cling to it. Don't grasp at it. Don't try to forcefully push it away or deny it. Simply let it go gently by refocusing on your breath, by replacing your mind on your breath. And if your mind starts to become dull or sleepy, then wake it up a little bit by refocusing on your breath more brightly. If you're so inclined, you can also add the extra technique of counting the breaths from 1 to 10. So you breathe in, breathe out, that's 1, and so on and so forth. But if your mind becomes distracted on the way to 10, stop there and go back to 1. But don't count past 10, because we don't want the counting to be the focus. So now let's practice like this in silence for a few minutes. So now we can feel very pleased with ourselves for engaging in this short session, our breath meditation. And fill yourself with the universal love and kindness. So now we switch to Metabolic, or loving kindness meditation. Generate this loving kindness in your own heart and fill your whole being with it. This includes acceptance, friendliness, non-violence, non-aggression, honesty. All of these good qualities that you have. Fill yourself with so much loving kindness now that it overflows outwards, radiates outwards, initially to your loved ones, your family and friends, filling them with this loving kindness too. May they be happy, free from suffering, and be peaceful. Gradually radiate the loving kindness out further and further to now include also strangers, those people you may know a little bit or not at all. And fill them with the loving kindness. May they also be happy, free from suffering, and be peaceful. And now also include those that you may find difficult, irritating, may even regard as enemies. May these people also be happy, free from suffering, and be peaceful. Fill them with the universal love and kindness. May all of these people be happy, free from suffering, and be peaceful. Gradually radiate further and further, now to include all of the living beings that live around your immediate area. The living beings that fly through the air, live on the land, under the land, in the waters, born from wombs, from eggs, from moisture, through transformation. Now radiate the love and kindness throughout your whole state or county. And fill all the living beings with universal love and kindness. And throughout other states and counties, throughout your whole country. And other countries throughout the whole world. Initially those that you're familiar with and have an affinity towards. Those you have indifference towards. And even those, if there are any, that you may even feel an aversion towards for whatever reason. Until your loving kindness pervades the whole planet. May all of the living beings throughout this whole planet be happy, free from suffering, and be peaceful. Extend further and further beyond this planet alone, throughout the whole solar system. And other solar systems throughout the whole galaxy. Other galaxies throughout the whole universe. And all of the universes throughout infinite space. May this immeasurable loving kindness pervade everywhere and all the time. also be present here and now, and we will recite the dedication prayer. Due to this merit, may I soon attain the enlightened state of the Buddha, so that I may be able to liberate all sentient beings from their suffering. May the precious bodhicitta not yet born arise and grow. May that born have no decline but increase forevermore. And may the precious view of shunyata not yet born arise and grow. May that born have no decline but increase forevermore. So very good. We have our meditation session. And I remind you that, you know, when I said yes to doing these classes initially, and we started to get some sort of formula going, I wanted to not only give a Dharma talk. I think obviously the Dharma talk and the information therein is very important to get to understand the Dharma, then learn how to implement it into your lives, but also to give you a chance of chanting practice, to absorb the mind through the chanting with the Dharma, and also some meditation as well, you know, to be able to release the tension, but also to work on improving our concentration, eventually leading us to one-pointed concentration, and also improve and increase our loving kindness and compassion, and therefore create the conditions for us to be able to understand the nature of reality eventually. So I wanted to, even though it's only short sessions, or they are only short sessions, we get the chance to do maybe 4 to 5 minutes of chanting, and then the meditations that sort of take up maybe another sort of 13 to 15 minutes or so. And then we have the 20 minutes to 24 minutes, somewhere in there, the Dharma talk. I think it's a good balance, so I'm hoping that you agree. And, you know, sometimes maybe in the future, we may do the class, maybe no chanting, no meditation, just the talk. So maybe some class, just meditation. We'll decide as we go along. For the time being, though, you know, we are continuing this formula, or this format, and today, and from today for a few weeks at least, we will I will address some questions that have been coming in over time, over the last 7 or 8 months. And today the questions are related to the law of karma, and also accepting ourselves. Quite a lot of questions like that come in, you know, relating to our good qualities, our faults, and so forth. And but before I mention that, I just share with you, I'm not sure exactly the Facebook page that it will be streamed live on, but actually there is some Earth Day's coming up. So there are some Earth Day meditation sessions being run by the World Alliance of Buddhists, excuse me, of which I'm on the committee. Excuse me for a moment. And I don't know, I can't remember how many sessions, or I don't know how many sessions they're doing in a row, I imagine for a whole week. And I'll be one of the people guiding the meditations. And so I actually will be pre-recording, because the sessions are running Thai time, 8:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. And that is 11:30 p.m. to 12:30 a.m. in Australia. And even though I am up that late, normally it's a bit late, and I'll probably wake my mother up. Excuse me, got a little bit of hay fever today. Bad timing. So anyway, Tuesday is the day that I will be on, even though I'm pre-recording it tomorrow. So have a look, World Alliance of Buddhists, maybe Facebook page, or it could be one related to Dharmakaya Temple in Thailand, Facebook page, or Earth Day. Maybe they've set up a Facebook page specifically for this, as they have done in the past for other subjects. Okay, so other forums. So today I will start to talk about this, this law of karma. I think all of you have some sort of idea of the law of karma, of cause, condition, and effect, or just cause and effect. Think about it like a seed. When you put a seed, let's say in your vegetable garden, you plant the seed in there, And then you take care of it, you nurture it. You give it the right conditions of the sun, enough water, and then, of course, all of the other elements as well. Enough dirt, maybe give some manure or some sort of compost or something like that, and then look after it. And eventually the seed starts to germinate, it becomes a seedling, and then eventually the plant will grow. Now, if you plant a good seedling, a good seed, I should say, for a good vegetable or a good fruit or whatever, something that is nutritious, good for you, then obviously that eventually will grow. And I'll give you an example, for instance, maybe some green beans, for instance, relating to our garden here. And then we've had a really good crop of green beans the last couple of months. And they taste beautiful and they're really good for you. There's some protein in there as well, being vegetarian, you know, and also the other goodness that is in the beans. And so that is like when we plant good seeds, karma, good karmic seeds. You will get the good results. We will reap the good results. The more pure our intention is behind these actions of our mind, our body, and our speech, then the more good the results will be. I think you can get what I mean. So plant a good seed in the garden, you will get nutritious vegetables or fruit. But let's say you plant a seed for weeds or even a poisonous plant. Eventually, you know, whether or not actually you nurture it, eventually it will grow and it will turn into this poison. It will, if it's weeds, then the weeds will grow. If you don't address them, they will continue to grow. And then they will also give off their own seeds and other weeds will grow. This is just like if we plant the negative, the bad karmic seed. And the more intense our intention behind these thoughts, these actions, these words, the more intense and the worse result will be. I think you can understand that. And if you don't address it, if you don't work to purify it by applying the opposites, the good qualities, for instance, or the antidote of using the 4 powers of having a positive regret, having a resolve not to engage in these types of actions again in the future, and also doing this towards something that you find you have great respect for, a virtuous object such as the Buddha, your teachers, and then engaging in the practice wholeheartedly. If you don't do this, if you don't work to check it, then it's continued to grow. For instance, your mind will become habituated like this. And so then every time some sort of circumstance comes up that is similar to the circumstance that was there when you engaged in a negative action, then you will continue to. In fact, eventually, you may even just do it naturally. You know, for instance, let's say a worse karma, a really bad karma is killing. So let's say you kill once. If you don't address it, if you don't have some regret and resolve not to do it again, then maybe this starts to become a habit to kill. And eventually, for the people that engage in these types of activities, then eventually they may even have some enjoyment. It may brush up their ego. What I quite often joke around and say, too much testosterone, you know, that will increase and they'll continue, you know, become bloodthirsty. Like, for instance, examples of this, and not pointing to any particular person or people, but something like the hunters that go out there and just, it's for sport. They kill things and they have a lot of great pleasure in doing so. It's very, very bad. So I think that's maybe an extreme example, but a good one. So you plant bad karmic seeds, you're going to get the bad results. Just like if you plant the poisonous plant or the poisonous seed in the garden, the plant will be poisonous. But you do the opposite, then obviously you get the good results. If we have engaged in these negative actions in the past, like I said, regret it, have resolved not to do it again, and work on the opposites, on the good karma. So if your actions were based, for instance, on greed, then now purify this by basing your actions on generosity, on openness, on non-attachment. If your actions were based on hatred or anger, work with the opposites. Base your actions on loving kindness, even if it's a little bit forced right now. Loving kindness, compassion, obviously based on patience as much as possible, on equanimity, non-bias. You know, if it's on anger, really apply the patience. Very important. Patience is really the direct antidote for anger, isn't it? So we should address the negative actions. But think about the law of karma. It's actually very realistic, isn't it? If you think about the other possibilities, now there are various different types of possibilities of how things come into being, but the law of karma is the only one that you could say is you can't break through and destroy it. You know, this is the type of teaching that has been thought about, investigated, analyzed by great practitioners since the time of the Buddha, even prior to that, other Buddhas. And we can't prove it wrong. Whereas the other possibilities are just flawed, totally flawed. They may have you have a nice feeling that goes with it or whatever, but, you know, like the creation theory or something like that, and may be helpful for some people to believe in these things. But if you look, it always stops somewhere, you know, there's always, oh, well, okay, well, what caused that? Can't answer it. These questions that I'm addressing today came from some people that are new to Buddhism in the last, say, year or so. And they have been asking me a lot of questions. And of course, their previous religion was like the creational type of ideas, the God ideas. And so they've been comparing to the belief in the God that they had before. And, you know, and so sometimes when people do that, they can think the law of karma or the Buddha, first of all, replaces their God. Or even their teachers replace their God. The idea of worshipping. We don't worship in Buddhism. It may look like it sometimes through our bowing, through our doing prayers, doing things like this, you know, venerating the Buddha and teachers even, you know. But this is to open our mind. This is to open our mind to the teachings so that we don't push them away through our ego and our false beliefs that we may have already. So think about that. And this is not, I've never practiced the other religions. So I can't talk about details, and I won't, because I'm not qualified to do so either. It's that if you want to talk about that, then you should go to learned teachers from those traditions. But from my point of view, the creational soul, the creationist theory, the God created everything. Well, I would say this, if the God created everything, they also created the suffering. But of course, then people say, no, that comes from free will. So the goodness only comes from the God, and the badness comes from you. So you're bad guys. You know what I mean? So this is flawed. And also, what caused the God to do that? Why did he do it? Was he bored? Was she bored? You know, why? And what caused that God as well? And they say eternal, you know, what does that mean? And I think I've mentioned this to you before. I remember as a kid asking actually a minister one time, and I can't remember the details too clearly because I was really young. And I wanted to know about what happens when I die, which I think is a fear that everybody has, you know, and curiosity that everybody has. And of course, the guy said, well, if you're good, you go to heaven. If you're bad, you go to hell. I said, but I'm not always good and not always bad. So I must come back. And then, of course, he refuted that idea. And so I thought, but what about all of the time? Let's say the life started here. What about infinite time before that? Where was I then? And of course, the idea of the God theory is that there was God, but you weren't there, you weren't created yet. So then, but that's impossible if you think about the law of karma. Okay, and then an infinite time, beginningless time. Then at the end of the life, you either go to heaven or hell or something like that. But what about the infinite time after that? You haven't purified your mind yet. You're going to experience the results of your good karma, of your bad karma, of the indifferent karma, the neutral. You will have to experience that. So now I'm addressing, like I said, the questions that have come from people that have come from religions like this, that have these beliefs. And this is not to put them down, because I have great respect for all religions, and even people that atheists, very based on science or whatever. It's great respect for these people, especially if you're really looking into it and if you're behaving according to the teachings. In other words, you're kind and loving, compassionate, wise to a certain degree. I have great respect for that. But anyway, so the other one is random. The life comes from random. Our conditions come from random. And this, once again, is an impossibility. This is what we call a nihilistic view. Okay, so the law of karma. I think if you can really think about it and test it, as I mentioned many times, as a goldsmith tests for real gold, not just believe it, but really test it, investigate it, and analyze it, you will come to realize this is the way things are. Now, of course, the law of karma is closely related with rebirth, what we call rebirth. Some people call reincarnation. Generally, I think Buddhist scholars in the English language, we use rebirth normally because reincarnation was used a lot, say with the Hindu tradition and other traditions that believe in this. Okay, so maybe a good point of difference is the word rebirth, even though we don't have a direct translation. I did write myself some notes so I didn't forget some spots. I've mentioned the weeds. They will continue to grow unless we pull them out, isn't it? So the same with our negative qualities. They will continue to grow and become overwhelming eventually. And it becomes so natural for us, we think they are part of us, part of our minds, and part of our habitual tendencies, that we can never undo them. Okay, so pull them out now, chop them down, apply the good qualities. And also they wanted to know on how they can tell others. So in other words, have a debate with people that have different beliefs. And basically I said straight away, you don't have to prove anything to anybody. You have to prove it to yourself. You have to analyze, investigate, analyze, really, base it on logical reasoning, your beliefs and your understanding, and prove it to yourself. And then, of course, you can share with others. If other people are interested, you share it with them, but you don't want to go out there and try to have an argument with people. So I basically said that straight away. This one person, he said that he really enjoys debating people of other religions. I said, that's fine if you're there to teach each other and help each other to understand your chosen path better, put it into practice more clearly, more consistently. That's really good. But if you're doing it to win an argument, then nothing can really come out of that. And the other people, if they have really strong beliefs that are different to yours, they're not going to learn anything anyway, because they're going to stick to their belief and think you're just arguing with them. So don't do it. Just put it into practice yourself. If someone's interested, share it, and also radiate the goodness yourself. I've mentioned the seeds. I'm going to elaborate on this a little bit more next week. We have. You can break this down even further, but we have the 6 realms of existence, to put it one way, and that is the heavenly realms, the Asura or jealous God realms, the human realm, the animal realm, of which, of course, we can perceive as human beings. We can perceive the humans and the animals, which also includes insects. And then you have the hungry ghost realm, then you have the hell realms. Okay, so, but none of these realms are eternal. Okay, they're always changing, depending. You would have rebirth in one of these realms and have the conditions during that rebirth because of your karma. because of the vipaka, because of the results of your karma at that time. All right, so that's enough. Conscious continuum is something I'll talk about next week, how every moment leads to another moment, doesn't it? This moment has come from previous moments. We've conditioned it. You know, this is conscious continuum. And the other thing is, you know, mentioning good quality, good qualities and faults. I'll leave you with this, like a little short anecdote, even though we've only got a minute and a half left. And that is that, let's say, I'll share with you next week where I come up with this idea. But let's say you've built a wall, a really nice wall. And then you realize there's one brick that is like that, lopsided. You think it makes the wall look ugly. But actually the rest of the wall is very symmetric, really strong. And even that brick on the side like that, the mortar is in there, you know, the cement. And so this helps to fortify it, to strengthen it. But you focus only on that bad brick, on the out of shape brick. This is like focusing only on your faults. But the rest of the wall is fine. This is like your good qualities. So focus on your good qualities. I'll expand upon that more next week. All right, so that's come from questions from before, but also even questions recently as well. So I rejoice in your goodness as per usual. I rejoice in your good qualities. I rejoice in you purifying your faults, replacing them with the good qualities, and increasing the good qualities, eventually perfecting them. Study to the best of your ability, practice